Hello, welcome to Verbling. Thanks for joining me. Why am I stuck? Did I just close it? Oh, okay. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hangouts. Hi. Hangouts did a weird thing. Hey everyone, welcome to Verbling. And hi Roni, how are you today?
Hi, teacher. Very fine, and you?
I'm doing okay. Actually, I had a rough morning. I was very concerned because my internet provider was actually doing an upgrade. So they were using alternate servers and that were really slow. So I didn't know if what I was going to do with class, if I was going to have to cancel or get a substitute teacher. But luckily everything came back online about 20 minutes ago, and actually my internet's faster than normal. They actually yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm excited, yeah. I was worried, but everything seems to be okay. Okay, well, hello, Tharcisio? Are you there?
Yes.
Hi. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I don't know. You tell me. Where where are you? Good night. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Well, where are you at? Where are you? From Brazil.
I'm from
okay.
Brazil.
Definitely night there.
Brazil.
Okay. All right. Nice to have you with us. Okay. Well, today's class is pretty basic. We're gonna look at TOEFL. We're gonna just look at an overview, the big picture, and talk about basically what you can expect when taking the TOEFL exam when it comes to the writing portion of the test. Yay, and here comes my able-bodied assistant, Russell. Oh, hello. Hi, Russell. How are you? Oh, wait. Give him still loading. All right, I'll give you a second. Yeah, a bunch of people coming in right now, so let's just give the Hangout a second, catch up to itself. Okay, we're talking about the TOEFL Writing Test. The basic premise or the basic idea here, they're basically testing you to see if you can handle writing a paper at university level. Not an enormous paper, but there's two tasks. The first task you're looking at maybe writing 150 words or so, and the second task maybe double that, maybe around 300. It sounds like a lot of words, but really it's not that bad unless you're really struggling for vocabulary. You don't want to repeat yourself over and over again, of course, but we'll talk more about that once we get started. But the idea is, can you write a college paper? So that's the idea. And again, two questions. All right, well, hang on a second. Oh, okay. Russell, how are you? There we go.
Hi, teacher. I'm fine.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, you know, I'll be missing my ice cream later, but I'll live through it. Funny guy.
Yeah, we will all hear soon.
Yeah, right. Okay, Russell is is a great student. Russell has somewhat recently taken the TOEFL test. So how did you find the writing test? Was it difficult, not so bad? How would you rate it?
It was not difficult. It was not so bad.
I don't think it is so bad, and actually I think this may be the easiest part. of the test. Depends on your skill set, of course. Everyone's different, so you know, not definite, but I think it's not that bad. And actually, I think the scoring, as far as how they're scoring the TOEFL writing, I think it's a little more easy and less strict. The information is coming from you, not from them. Like reading and listening, you have trap questions, inference questions, many really difficult questions, and they're phrasing the question, so it makes it more difficult because you have to adjust your thinking. In writing and speaking, of course, the information is you're using your own brain, so your phrasing, you know, is your own. And of course, speaking is difficult because, bam, you have to think of something very quickly. But writing, you have a little bit more time at least. So I kind of agree with you. All right, I'm just going to say a quick hello to a couple of people. Moises, how are you?
Hi, fine, thank you. Are you?
Good. Haven't seen you in a few days. Nice to have you back.
Thank you very much. I was studying a lot, so this is the reason, because I can't say here.
Right, I get you. Okay, you may want to adjust your microphone. It's a little low. Moises.
Okay.
Hi, Mahmood.
Hi,
Hi, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. I'm doing okay. And Anna.
Sorry. Hello.
Don't be sorry. Hi, Anna. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil as well. Okay, very good. We have the Brazilian contingent. Excellent. So Anna, do you plan on taking the TOEFL test in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because here in Brazil have some program of the government with the college. You can go to USA and other countries speaking English, and you have
Is it
some
science
money
without
and
borders?
Hang on, Anna. I'm sorry. What was that, Lucio?
She said that she is going to USA.
Mm-hmm. Right.
no.
No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Not
Okay.
yet.
Working our communication skills here, people. Okay. No. All right. Okay. That's not what she said. Okay. She says she's planning on taking the TOEFL test, right? Anna?
I said that
Yes.
there is a program in
should-
Brazil that
I will make TOEFL because I want this grade for can join the government's plan with college for go to another country and study in English in college. Like it, I can't
Okay.
explain very well.
That's okay. I think I understand.
kind of an exchange.
Sorry? Lucio? What about change?
I think it's of exchange. I don't know much about it.
Oh, exchange program. Student exchange program.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay. One thing, Anna, make sure you should say I will take a test, not make a test. I'm going to take a test.
Okay, I understand.
No problem. Okay. All right, let's get started. Quick hello to Sebastian. Hi, Sebastian. How are you? Hello. It's very dark there. Okay, all right. Well, let's get started. Enough goofing off. All right, as I said. Oh. Sebastian, you probably have another hangout. Whoa, whoa. Hang on. Sorry. Hope no one went deaf. Sebastian, I had to mute you. There's a very, very loud echo. You probably have a Verbling window open. You can just close it and stay in the Hangout. Or also, it's much better if you use headphones and with a microphone. It cuts down on the noise. And you can't have any other YouTube applications open, any other YouTube videos or even the live on the Verbling. You can't have two open or we get a lot of echo. So please fix that, and then you can unmute yourself. Okay. Let's get started. Mine? Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Isn't it past your bedtime?
It's almost
Okay. Well, glad you could join us for a short while. We're just doing a quick overview of TOEFL. Again, TOEFL writing. Again, it's basically testing your ability to write a paper at the university level. There are two parts. First part, you're going to read a passage on an academic subject. And by the way, that reminds me, it's always a good idea as part of your TOEFL studying regimen to brush up on academic topics that they might be talking about. It would help to do that because you'll get some vocabulary that you can use, which of course is always going to be helpful. So brushing up on things like archaeology, natural sciences. Sometimes they talk about the arts, things like architecture, historic buildings, and things of that nature, academic topics. It certainly cannot help you while you're studying for TOEFL. Okay, first question is, what's going to happen is you read a passage on an academic subject, and then you listen to a lecture on the same topic, and you're basically writing a summary. Very similar to a part of the speaking test, actually. Exactly the same structure. You read, you listen, you talk. In this case, you read, you listen, you write. You have 3 minutes to read, and then 20 minutes to write. Again, you're looking at probably 150 words. Now, fortunately, if any of you are familiar with the IELTS test, the TOEFL test, yes, you have to have a certain amount of volume, but they are not really crazy specific about it. IELTS test demands that you use 150 words and then 250 words, and you are severely punished if you do not. They actually count the words and deduct a point for each word you're missing. So luckily TOEFL is not quite so anal, shall we say. So they're a little more lax when it comes to word count, but you do need a certain volume. They recommend maybe about 150 for the first passage, maybe double that for the second. Okay, the second question or second task, you'll write an essay that states and explains and supports your position. In other words, an opinion piece. You're going to have about 30 minutes or so to write that essay. Okay. How the writing is scored. Okay. Basically, it's on a 0 to 5 scale. So what they're looking for, does it address the topic or the task? In other words, stay on topic. Is it well organized and uses appropriate examples? In other words, use paragraph structure, and we're going to be talking about that a lot. They are very concerned with your ability to remain organized in your writing. And actually, a lot of the things that you do in speaking, you'll do in writing. Very similar. Stay focused and stay organized, and you'll do well. Thirdly, they're looking for coherence, which means that does your arguments or your supporting statements in an opinion, for example, does it follow an order? Do you use what we call discourse markers or signal words or signal phrases? They're called a lot of different things. But simple things like subordinate clauses, like first of all, or my first reason is blah, blah, blah. Secondly, blah, 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 blah. As well, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. All right. When you're showing cause and effect, use words like consequently, comma, and right. As a result, comma, da-da-da-da-da. Actually, that you're accomplishing two things when you do that. Hang on just a second, Moises. Just give me 30 seconds. And you're accomplishing two things. You're staying organized and keeping your coherence, but you're also, because you're using subordinate clauses, it forces you, whether you know what you're doing or not, it forces you to write or speak complex sentences, which shows a higher grammar skill. Okay, so one thing forces the other. Okay, Moises, what's up? Voices.
Second part of the when you talk about the second part of the essay, you might say that you have to know what it's going to be the structure about the essay. For example, first you're going to write an introduction, and second maybe you're going to write your arguments, and finally you're going to write your conclusions. Not? Do you refer to that? Okay.
All right. Moises probably has a 5 score already just for knowing that. That's exactly what I mean. Perfect. Very good. And believe me, that's very simple to learn, but that goes a long way to giving you a good score. They are really concerned with structure. There's a heavy weight on that if you read their scoring guidelines. All right. And then, of course, the other part is vocabulary, making sure that your vocabulary is up to par. Now, actually, there's a couple things I want to mention when it comes to vocabulary. Again, both speaking and writing. Of course, obviously using appropriate words and appropriate places. Well, that's obvious. But some things that really help you, Russell just wrote complex adjectives. Yes, brush up on your adjectives. This is exactly what I was going to say. Most second language speakers actually, their weakness in vocabulary is adjectives, or even more so, Russell, I would add being able to use an adverb to modify, or any other modifier of an adjective. Okay, instead of saying it's bad, bad is an adjective. First of all, try to get a more complicated adjective than good, bad, nice.
Like
rocks. Horrid. Instead of bad, it's horrid. All right.
Worst, not.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Horrendous.
Horrendous. There you go. Actually.
But I want to ask you something about that.
Yeah.
What is the main part of that? Because I have like 2 opinions about that. Is it most important to say a clear argument, or to use good adjectives or complex adjectives, like he said? What is the most important point of that?
Well, actually, that's a good point. Now, you say a good argument. Do you mean?
Yeah, it's like when you write, you must understand. They understand you that you wrote.
Right. Okay. I want to be clear here, so let's take this slowly. I think it's the most important, really, to stay organized, and so that your thoughts or your ideas come in a very coherent, easy-to-read manner, exactly as you outlined: introduction, supporting, conclusion. I think that's probably the most important thing to them.
Okay.
Now, when you're saying that you have a good argument, is if it's structured and presented correctly, then yes, the most important is to have a good argument. If you mean, is it an intelligent, is it correct, is it worthy of being printed in a magazine? No, that doesn't matter at all. You can be a complete idiot. Your opinion may be completely unpopular.
It's not shrunk.
You know, yeah, you're not being. In other words, you're not being judged on your actual. Like in university, you'd be judged on perhaps your opinion and how much you learned in class that affected your opinion. No, you're being judged on your English usage skills. So,
Okay.
you know, if you have like forming an opinion that's extremely unpopular or even crazy, it doesn't matter if you're structuring it well and you have decent vocabulary. So, actually, you know, that's Moises. That's a very good point. Many students are overly concerned about the quality of their information or the correctness of their opinion. I'm not sure if my answer is right. I don't know if it's.
No, but I understand you.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's most important to have a good point of view that
Right.
use good words.
Yeah, in a nutshell. Thank you for summarizing. Yeah. Russell says there's no time to think in this way. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there is no time. There are
do-
only 30 minutes and
Oh.
to do the task. And if you think about the quality, then you are gone.
Ah, right. Okay, I get you. Good point. It's not like you're writing your college thesis where you're going to spend 3 months. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have a question about that. Maybe when they say you have to write, maybe they won't. Sorry, they will give you many, for example, like 10 minutes to think about what you are going to write.
Well, they give you, you know, like 20 minutes for the first question, 30 minutes for the second question. How you use your time is completely up to you. Now, okay, we'll talk about that. How should you use your time? You know, of course, basic writing techniques in real life, we're going to use steps. Okay. Because of time constraints, we may not be able to use the full steps. For example, you know, in real life, we would spend time brainstorming. However we're going to do it, just writing down random words related to the topic, or using balloons. There's different techniques for brainstorming. Thinking of things to talk about, in other words, you would then probably proceed to making an outline or your skeleton, your structure. You know, okay, obviously A would be introduction, and the last one would be conclusion, quite obviously, as Moises said. And then supporting point 1, example. Supporting point 2, example. Supporting point 3, example. Okay, I have 3 points. I have an introduction. I have a conclusion. That's 5 paragraphs. 250 or 300 words, maybe around 60 words a paragraph. That doesn't really matter. But and then you would, you know, in real life, you would write it, your first draft. You wouldn't worry too much about syntax or spelling or anything, because you'd then go back and do your edit. So, you know, all those 4 steps would be normal life. But of course, TOEFL's not normal life, and you don't have time to do all that.
Yeah.
Obviously, unless if you're going to university and you procrastinate and you're writing your essay for English literature class, which starts at 9 a.m. and you start writing it at 8:30. Then real life does resemble TOEFL, but yeah. Okay, so, but, if you have a problem with organization, I would suggest that maybe you should do at least a short version of an outline. At least, just like exactly what I'm saying, intro. At the bottom of your paper, write conclusion, and then point 1, point 2, point 3, and then write in some keywords or phrases. Or little phrase for an example, e.g., something like that.
It's a good idea.
Well, it helps to keep you, because your brain's going 100 miles an hour, Moises. You're nervous and tense, and you think about that clock, tick, 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 tick. So the more you can help yourself to not try to remember 100 things at once, the easier it may be for you. Okay, but really good questions, Moises, and frankly, anybody has any questions, fire away. All right. Okay. Okay. Again, these four, the four things you're being scored on: address the topic or stay on topic, organization, the coherence or the flow. And then use of language. Really, if you think about it, only one thing has to do with use of language, vocabulary, and grammar. So obviously, the brunt or the most of the scoring is much more about how you do the task, not the tools you use, the words or the sentence structures you use. Although those are important, but really, again, I keep saying it, but the organization and the way you present ideas, extremely important. Okay, what I was saying about vocabulary, I got a little sidetracked. Yeah, you should try to use good vocabulary. Where you get in trouble is if you use the same words over and over. Oh my God, I had this girl. Hopefully she's not watching today, but she was not in verbling, a student that I had, and I might have told this story if some of you guys have heard this before. I probably told this in speaking class. I had this girl, and she had one subordinator. She had one discourse marker, and it was moreover. Did I ever tell that story? Anyway, I would sit. I had every day I had class with this girl for an hour, and every point she made through the whole hour, she would say moreover and moreover. My other idea is, and moreover, after class I'm going to go get ice cream. And moreover, after I have ice cream, I'm going to go shopping. Moreover, I'll probably buy a new dress. Moreover, I'll probably need shoes with it. Moreover, I'll probably need a purse. Oh my God. Moreover, I was going to kill her.
Moreover, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Go bananas.
Go bananas. Yeah, that was my idiom for the day. Go bananas. All right. Yeah, so it can drive you crazy when somebody does that. So don't repeat use different signal phrases and different signal words. Don't repeat words over and over and over. So that's also important because you lose points when you do that. Things that look really good, yeah, more complicated, more use adjectives, use modifiers for your adjectives. Effie. Hi, how are you? I'm getting a lot of... Well, I'm okay, except I'm getting a lot of extra sound from your... I might have to mute you, or maybe... sorry. Or maybe... You've got something else running. Okay, I had to mute you, Effie, because we can all hear what your computer's playing. Russell, your question? Yes, sir.
How many accents they include in the speaking
How many?
to listen to list for the listening task or for the other tasks?
How many accents?
Accents.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. I don't know.
I mean, is it only American? Is it only American accent or somewhere else like British or Australian?
Not only American.
I think they do have not only American. Yeah, Mine.
No,
go
they
ahead.
mention on their website not only American.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to bring here in class, because was it American before?
Was it before? I'm not sure. You know, usually all the practice material you get, it's usually American accent, but I agree that I have definitely seen in the official TOEFL material that it could be people with other accents. I remember that.
Yeah, because when I gave the test, it was I think it was Australian accent a bit.
Really?
And that's not the issue they are mentioning now in their side, just to confuse, just to get you more tense. That, oh my God, more accents are coming.
Oh, more accents. Well, wouldn't that be?
They already are doing it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that raises yet another good point, and thank you. The TOEFL test is an evolving test. It's if you take it now and you take it a year from now, you'll be taking a different test. They are always tweaking or modifying the structure of the test, some of the elements like adding more listening tasks with people with accents, little numbers of questions, little tiny modifications to things like the scoring rubric. They're always changing it a little bit. I don't know why they have to do that. Yeah, I don't know. To torture not only the students but the people trying to teach it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it will be fun listening to the British accent.
Oh, well, you should. If you want to have some fun with that, you can try any time with the IELTS test.
The British one is fantastic.
What, Roni?
It wasn't me.
Who said the British one is fantastic?
Tarcisio.
Won't admit it now. What did you say, Ressa?
I think it's understandable. Yeah.
British accent? Yeah, mostly.
Not but the British, not the Scottish or Irish. Otherwise,
yeah, right.
Things would go very difficult if
That's
it
right.
is a Scottish or Irish speak.
Now, for IELTS tests, and I guess possibly now for TOEFL, if anybody gets, what I recommend, especially for IELTS, is if anybody gets BBC channel, or you can watch BBC, of course, we all have internet, obviously. Listen to BBC channel, because that's the usual neutral kind of British accent you would hear on any kind of English test.
Or you can listen to BBC Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Totally recommend it.
Yeah, that same thing, but yeah, exactly. BBC Radio, BBC TV. It's very much the sort of accent you would hear on IELTS or, I guess, now TOEFL. Yes, I agree with you completely. Okay.
I have a question, teacher.
Yeah, sure.
It's a little stupid, but I'm not sure. It's about when you're going to write. How can you write? It's like can you use a computer?
Ah,
you
yeah.
have to write with the hand because.
Oh, okay. Well, let's look at that.
Because if you write with a hand, I'm not sure if I can say that. Maybe people are not going to understand you later.
No,
or
it's
your
not with your.
words?
It's not with your hands, and I'm going to do a screen share, and you know what? I will let you read it yourself so that you can understand it. Here you go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Can you see that okay? Yeah, hang on one second, Moises. Yes, Effie, what can I do for you?
I have a big situation when I talk to you.
Uh-huh. What's the problem?
Oh, yeah. When I try to speak in English, I feel so shy. I don't know what it really happened to me, but I really shy. And when I practice to speak in English, I'm really I'm so bad, but I really prefer just read books and see more movies, no more. What can
Okay.
I do?
What can you do? Well, brave up, man up, as we say. as we say in English, you need to man up. Just come to verbling classes and participate. Do a little speaking. Actually, I'm gonna let Moises do a little reading, and then I'll have you do a little reading in English in a minute. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Just stay with it. And by the way, there's something, I don't know if you have the TV on or another window open on your internet, on your computer, but I can hear a lot of noise coming from you. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So either turn it off or something, or keep your microphone mute unless you're talking. Okay, Effie, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Moises. All right. To answer your question, could you read this?
Yeah. I have to. Do I have to read that?
Yeah. Go ahead for everyone.
Okay. It is important to know that your first writing task will require both a reading and listening part, so you need to leave your headset on. Your essay must be typed, so you should have some familiarity with the keyboard before you take your TOEFL. The word I don't know how to say that. Processor?
Processor? Yes, you do. Very good.
Okay. The word processor used for the TOEFL is very simple. It only has cut, copy, cut, copy, and paste functions.
Exactly. Okay. And hang on. Let's look at this part. Okay, so you have cut, copy, and paste, and you're typing. TOEFL IBT, to answer your original question, is computer-based. So you're typing. Yeah.
It's good.
It's good. Well, it depends on how good a typer you are, and or how good you are writing. IELTS is all handwritten, but they allow you to do things like cross out words and stuff like that to make it a little faster because you don't have any kind of word processor. But all right, okay. I guess this is all information I've already said. Actually, okay. You're 20 in the first one. 20 minutes to write an essay on the relationship between the reading and the lecture. Okay, now this is a key point. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I haven't brought this up. Your response must not include personal opinions. Okay. Being that I am an American and I have opinions about everything, this is really difficult for me. It actually is. You do not. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're not like me, but if anybody's like me, you're doing a very unbiased summary. Do not use expressions like "I think," "it seems to me," or "it may be," or even "it's possible," blah blah blah, because those are all introducing your opinion. Actually, when I take this is the same thing happens in IELTS. When I take these tests, I have to be extremely careful with the first task and I hate TOEFL because in IELTS I can divide my time the way I like. In IELTS I have an hour, and usually they say 20 minutes and then 40 minutes for opinion. I have to do it exactly the opposite because I have to take extra care not to express an opinion. It's very difficult.
Okay. Oh, it's good. So you must sorry. So you don't have to use words like what? I think.
No,
maybe...
in fact, you shouldn't. In the first one, it's a summary piece, okay? Or you're showing the relationship between the reading and the lecture. Sorry?
You have to express a general idea.
General idea. Yes, that's right. And also, as it says here, you know, keyword might be the relationship between the reading and the lecture. So there's a reason you're doing two things, reading and lecture. The second is quite simple. You know, it's an opinion, and that's it. An opinion is an opinion is opinion. And the more you practice with opinions, the better off you're going to be. Okay, some basic points. Again, it's not what you write, it's how you write it. All right, so really basic points. One, make sure you answer the question appropriately. Okay, here's some advice regarding that. For myself, I know I've said this before a million times, but I literally will force myself to read the question twice. So I make sure that I understand the question, because sometimes it can be a little tricky. In TOEFL, they tend to trick you with the answers. Actually, if anybody's planning on taking an IELTS test, they trick you with the questions. They change the instructions on each question. So in IELTS, it's actually, believe it or not, they're even more evil than the TOEFL people that make the TOEFL test. They truly are. They'll do, in the IELTS test, they'll do very tricky things like they'll have two questions. You cannot write more than 2 words. And then it'll be you cannot write more than 3 words. You cannot use more than 3 words and or a number. And then they'll have another one. You can either use 3 words or a number. I'm very serious about that. Sometimes they actually, in the IELTS test, it will say, you must answer the question with a Roman numeral. And then you'll have another question, you must answer with the written number. So you can end up writing, you know, // number 3, and then your next answer is the word 3, and then your next answer is the number 3. They're really crazy. At least TOEFL doesn't do that, I must say. It's a relief. Yeah, anyway. Okay, make sure you answer the question appropriately. Make sure your essay is long enough, and make sure you're organized, and that's, you know, basically what you need to know. Question? No. Okay. Okay, so, all right, first task, we'll ask you to summarize and relate points in a lecture. Oh, very important, because you're not doing opinion. Please remember to use only facts from the material. Oh, and Moises, you are allowed to make notes. You were asking about, you know, writing or whatever. When you do the reading or do the listening before you answer question 1, you are allowed to make notes. Okay. Right? Isn't that true? Or am I thinking of
Yes, it is true.
Yeah. Okay.
Teacher, are the do the listening and reading always opposed, or sometimes they just add up to each other? Opinion-wise.
What?
He's
good question. I have to think. You know, sometimes the fact that I teach like 3 different testing, TOEIC, IELTS, and TOEFL, sometimes a question like this is like, oh, wait a minute, how does it work? Mine, maybe you can help us. Russell,
yes.
had a good question. He said, are the reading and the lecture always opposed, or sometimes are they complementary?
You 190 10% is the same, but 90% is opposed. For example,
okay.
reading says this, and professor point out this is not true. That blah blah blah.
Okay, so what she's saying, she said 90 out of 100%, 90%, right? 90% are opposed, and 10% are complementary. I was going to, I was about 90% sure that was the case. That's what I was going to say pretty much too. So I agree. I think that's absolutely right. There are cases where they are complementary, the reading and the lecture, but usually they're opposed.
Yeah, because the structure changes if it's complementary.
Mm-hmm.
And if it adds up to each other, then the structure changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we should talk about that. But Mine, you had a point or a question?
Yes, they mention this point on the question. They ask, on the contrary, professor, they mention in the question, and you have to idea what kind of the essay you should write it down.
Oh, okay. So sometimes, yeah, that's true. Sometimes there are clues in the question itself.
Yes.
All right. Okay. If they use words like on
No.
In the contrary.
Question would be on the listening and reading, but you will sense it in the reading and listening that is it complementary or opposing or similar?
Yeah, you're normally going to be able to tell, hopefully.
Because question will be the last part.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. They're not going to introduce it right as these are opposing arguments. Right. No. And anyway, it doesn't matter because if you can't tell if they are complementary or opposing arguments, then you're in big trouble anyway. Honestly, you know. Okay, so obviously, going along with that, you need to know how to write about contrast when people have do comparison and contrast, how to do it. Okay, so again, remember not to give your opinion. It should be entirely in the third person. What that means is you'll be using pronouns like he says, she says, the professor says, the student then says. Just get rid of I or me for the first task. Simple enough. Okay. In the second task, then yeah, you're going to want to use I think yeah, you go back to first person. All right, so you're going to need to know how to do some comparisons. What are some comparison discourse markers or signal words, signal phrases? Can you anybody?
Yeah.
Compared?
As compared.
Yeah, compared.
On the
okay.
other hand.
Yeah, the classic on the other hand. Compared.
For example, you can use a phrase
contrary.
like he's stronger than me, he's better than me. Kinds of
yeah, okay, you can, that's true, all right. Comparative adjectives, you may be using more comparative adjectives, that's true, yeah, sure. Okay, you can use comparative adjectives, and that's true. Sure. The professor speaks more about the influence of pollution on the river's ecology, something like that. More at length. He has. Yeah, you may use those structures, but what I'm thinking when I'm thinking about doing that, I am thinking that you may want to avoid superlatives.
Okay.
Because then you're getting dangerously close. You can do that, use comparatives, because you are comparing two things, sure. But if you start talking about, if you're going to put superlatives in there, you know, like the most, the best, the fastest, the strongest argument is made by the professor. I don't know. It's possible that, you know, depending on how you're using them, it might be okay. But I'd be a little nervous. Again, it's that question of actually giving an opinion. Is it really the strongest argument, or is that your opinion? So, you know, I'd be wary of using superlatives.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I think you could do it, and there's definitely cases where you would do it, but whew, I would be nervous doing that.
It's very dangerous.
That's partly me. I'm so paranoid about putting in an opinion because that's the mistake. When I've done practice tests, I make the same mistake over and over again.
Okay.
Which, by the way, we're talking about TOEFL or IELTS or whatever. Any of these tests, yeah, you can. It's very good to learn the basic principles and what to expect. That's your first step. It's also, as I said in the beginning of the class, it's good to study the topics, brush up on the knowledge, phrasing, and vocabulary. But there is no substitute for the third step, which is practice, 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 practice. Lots of practice. You think Michael Jordan just went out there and started playing basketball? No.
No.
He practiced, practice. Lots of practice. Yeah, of course. All right. Basic principle 2, make sure your essay is long enough. As I said, TOEFL has in their basic guidelines, or their basic idea, is that the first task should be, an effective response will be 150 to 200 words, somewhere in there. But you're really trying to hope for at least 150 words, probably. And in the second one, probably a minimum of 300 words. Now, it doesn't give you a whole lot of time to do a lot of planning, by the way. So you know, when we were talking about that earlier, you might want to do a simple outline, but combine your outline with brainstorming. Combine your steps. You're not going to have a chance to really do much of an edit job. So your usual normal step writing procedure, you've got to compress it. All right. So brainstorm in a short outline and then just start writing.
Actually, this second task is similar to the speaking first two questions. You just to brainstorm and link the ideas.
That's it. That's exactly right. Yeah, they're pretty much exactly the same. Actually.
Think of one thing, then think of the similar related thing, and just keep on thinking.
Right. Yeah, that's okay. Another. Actually, I forgot about that. Note to self. Actually, I'm going to do a class one of these days. Exactly that. Where we're going to practice that brainstorming class. This is my idea.
Ah, that's fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this class.
Okay, we're going to just do like free association, but I'm going to make it really hard. I'm gonna say free association, water. Okay, Rasa'al, verb. Verb. So I'll change. It can be noun, noun, verb, or adjective. So as we free associate the words, as each person goes, I'm gonna, before they give their word, I'll say noun, verb, adjective, verb,
yeah,
noun.
It'll be exciting.
Yeah, it should be fun. So anyway, yeah, I was trying to think of lessons for brainstorming, because that's TOEFL or IELTS, any of these tests. Actually, you part of the whole practice thing. You're trying to build paths in your brain from nerve to nerve on how to think in a consecutive manner, in a linear manner. Actually, when I teach, when I have a student who's doing many classes in TOEFL or IELTS or whatever, this is definitely part of the curriculum, how to think linearly. And actually, part of that is building up your brain to think like, okay, river, water to the ocean, fish, plant life in the river, oxygen content, food content, pollution. Okay, linearly, so one idea goes to the next. Not like fish, bird, sky, planet. And your ideas are way all over the place. Try to keep the ideas closely linked. Believe it or not, when people practice that, they get better at it. You know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not really a scientist. I'm not really a scientist. Only an amateur scientist. I like to experiment. But in any case, I do these exercises, and you may want to try it, thinking how to think linearly, because it really helps you. In particular, it'll help in writing, but in particular in the speaking test, where, of course, you have to be thinking very quickly in a linear way, because if your thinking is linear, your speaking will be linear, and, of course, you'll have that cohesion, which they're so concerned about. Okay, I digress, but actually, you know, I'm just giving you an overview today, and I'm actually trying to give you some ideas on things to study or even ways to study. Practicing the actual test, you know, practice linear thinking exercises. It helps. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm looking at my material. I've said all this over and over again.
I have a question, teacher.
What's that?
I want your opinion on a thing. It's not particularly regarding to the TOEFL. It's more related to IELTS test. I was attempting a practice of the writing part of the first question that is similar to TOEFL, that in which we summarize. But in IELTS, we have to summarize a report or a chart or a graph, something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, we have to in writing, we have to present the trends and discuss the report in writing.
Yeah.
So is it necessary to mention every item in that graph, or if the trend is same, you can just mention the major trends, or you have to mention every aspect of that graph or the diagram?
No. Good question. The IELTS has very similar to TOEFL writing. Very similar. The second one is exactly the same in opinion. In IELTS, you're looking at a table or a graph or a flow chart or a pie chart or two graphs, and you're comparing them. Something of that nature, and you have to summarize the data. That's the task. Okay? So it's sort of similar, but summarize, no opinion. Your question is, do you need to include every element of the graph or table or flowchart? No, absolutely not. You absolutely do need to cover any high points or any big differences in numbers where, you know, they're comparing men and women. Okay, men and women average income, for example, might be a graph you're looking at, like a bar chart. And you can see that the difference between, you know, you're going to talk about the difference between men and women. Oh, it was very broad, very wide in 1970, and as of 92, it's about, the difference has changed 50%, and then as 2000, the difference is very small. So you talk about differences, comparisons, or where things spike or drop, you know, where there's a big change. So no, absolutely do not just talk about every single detail. Actually, that's actually a bad idea. Okay, what I do, actually, very good question. What I do, Mahmoud, is I actually, when I first look at it, you can make notes. I make notes of where are the big changes or fluctuations, where are the things that I notice right away, and that will help you. Okay, and then just talk about those things. So then you give your introduction and your conclusion, and then all those big things that you wrote down on your paper, that's your middle paragraph or middle paragraphs. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I hope I answered your question. Okay. All right, guys. See you later. No ice cream guy today.
No ice cream today.
I don't know what happened. You know, I know we're all disappointed, especially me. But, okay. All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, teacher.